This call is now being recorded.
Hello, Cleveland. Welcome to another edition of Call Recording On, our first episode in the post-LeBron James era. Joining us today, we have a very special guest on our hotline, Robby Takac, bass player for multi-platinum Grammy-nominated recording artist, the Goo Goo Dolls. Robby and the gang will resume their Something for the Rest of Us tour right here in Cleveland on Saturday, July 17th, with special guests Switchfoot and the Spill Canvas. Robby, It's a pleasure to have you on the line today. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Absolutely. Glad to talk to you, man.
Good. And, Robby, I see the Goo Goo Dolls have been touring pretty hard since April, and you guys are going to be on the road through the beginning of September in advance of your upcoming release, Something for the Rest of Us, scheduled to drop on August 31st. How has life on the road been treating you guys so far, and is this a pretty grueling tour?
Well, it's an odd tour for us. When we booked the tour initially, this summer tour, we thought our record would be out already. And we had booked the fall tour prior to that as sort of a lead up to the tour. So, we did 60 shows, on that last leg, and we're going to have done another 40 shows, after the summer, which basically means that we've done about 100 shows prior to the record coming out, which is incredibly rare. You know, I mean, this is our 24th year of doing this right now, and I can't remember a time ever when that's been a situation that, you know, we've gone, wow, this is really going to be pretty cool. Usually it's terrifying, you know, when you're going to walk out and play a bunch of songs for people that, you know, they maybe have never heard before. You know, it's weird when you're up there and the entire audience, you know, you play Slide, which everybody knows, and then 2 minutes later you play a song no one's ever heard before, and the whole audience sort of turns their head like a confused dog, you know, looking at you like, what are these people doing? We don't know this. But I think due to the internet and, you know, just the access or the ease of access to information these days, you know, we're starting to show up and see, you know, a few thousand people singing words, you know, watching them sing along with songs that, you know, we haven't released yet. And I think that's quite a statement about, you know, the potential of this new music industry right now.
Yeah, is that kind of a weird feeling? And how do you feel about fans knowing your songs that you haven't released yet? Is that something that you think is a good thing, or are you a little upset by it?
No, well, actually, I think it's a great thing. I mean, that aspect of it, you know, the fact that, you know, people are that excited, you know, to actually go out and seek out, you know, it's not like, you know, you're walking into your local Walmart and knowing where to find the record. It's like, it actually takes a bit of effort, and I think that's a huge thing, you know, and the label was always kind of freaked out about playing unreleased material prior to, you know, about the band playing the unreleased material prior to actually being out there with the record, because, you know, you'd have songs out and, you know, material out that they had no control over and that people hadn't heard yet. And I think you sort of just had to forget about that over the past few years. They've tried so hard to combat it that they just obviously can't stop it. But I think what you just mentioned, you know, and the thing we're speaking about now, you know, people knowing these songs prior to them coming out, I think that this is the healthy byproduct of this situation, because we've literally been out promoting, you know, in person promoting this record for the past 2-3 months, which is something we've never had the luxury to be able to do in the past. So you know, I think that there are positive aspects. I try to keep focusing on them, because for the past 5 years I've been bombarded with all the negativity of the digital domain, you know, and its effect on the music industry. So I think that's the part of it I enjoy the most, quite honestly, is seeing, you know, the fact that there actually is something that has come of this digital revolution that, you know, is going to have a positive effect on music. I'm not speaking of the music industry. I'm just talking about music in general. And, you know, so I think we're starting to discover more and more how to use it correctly. And, you know, it's like a new sort of weapon, man. You know, you gotta learn how to master it, you know, before you can actually go out there and use it effectively. So, you know, hopefully we're on our way to doing that.
And how difficult was it? I mean, I know the Goo Goo Dolls have been together since, around 1986, and when your first hit album, A Boy Named Goo, came out in 1995, and makes me feel old because, I mean, I'm 26 now, but I mean, I remember that album coming out, and I remember Name being the single, and I remember my parents being impressed that I memorized all the words to that song.
Dude, you're funny. That's awesome.
And anyway, I mean, but when that was around that time, though, the internet, I mean, it hardly existed, let alone people having connections in their homes and broadband. I mean, that was, that seemed like a myth at the time, something that could never happen. And, you had terrestrial radio and you had print publications, but that was about it. How hard was it for the band to, kind of evolve, with the changing times as far as marketing your album goes?
Back in when that record first came out in like '95, nobody had websites. I mean, it was rare that people had website. But we right around that tour, which would have been the Boy Named Goo tour, we decided that maybe we'd try to put a website together. So we hired someone to do that. After a rigmarole with the record label to get our .com back, which I'm not going to go into because I think they're listening on the other line. No, I'm just kidding. After a rigmarole of getting our .com back, we put up a website, and basically it just sort of had the tour dates and such on it. But at the time, I asked them if they could put up a little page that I could update on a daily basis myself, knowing very little about computers as I did, and which I guess I didn't know at the time, but I guess we were blogging back at the time, so I guess what I'm trying to say here,
a pioneer of the blog, huh?
Well, I guess, I mean, at least, I didn't know that that's what I didn't know that that's what it would actually be called, and when I heard it the first time, I was like, what's that weird word, but I guess my point is that we've tried from the very beginning to try to understand what comes down the pike, when it comes to using auto-tune, when it comes to using, anything like that, that pops up new into the culture of what we did. I mean, for God's sakes, there weren't even CDs when we were putting out records out at first, but I think, if you don't try to stay current, you either get swamped, and bowled over by the technology, or, you end up like the Allman Brothers, trying to figure out what the hell happened. What happened? How did this happen to us? And I think you just got to keep your eyes open enough, to understand that, the internet is only a delivery mechanism for your ideas, and you just have to try to figure out a way to apply that delivery mechanism to what you do. And that's one of the largest faults, I think, of the music industry in general, was those thoughts weren't in their heads. It was, the internet was seen as an enemy. It wasn't seen as a tool. And so they tried to combat it rather than try to embrace it and make it work for themselves. And we can see what happened to the music industry, due to that attitude. So I think with us, all monetary things aside, because obviously, that's still something that needs to be figured out. I think we've tried, pretty desperately to, keep our finger at least on the things that the general public has access to at that particular moment. That was a big hassle, too, for a little while, was you'd start to see what was out there. I remember, like, when we first started spending money on building a web page, and we put all this new, Flash at the time was brand new, and we were putting Flash up on our site, and I was getting letters every day from people going, your website doesn't work, and it's like, well, no, it does. It's just your technology that you have hasn't reached us to where we are yet. And, it's pretty cool to be, like, advanced, but, like, it's not cool to be advanced when people can't use what you're doing or don't understand what you're doing. So, there's a fine line, I think, you walk with that stuff. But, in the past few years, with broadband speeds, getting much, much quicker and people having more and more access to hardware, I think that, it's become a little bit more of an accepted medium and an accepted way of transferring your ideas around.
Mm-hmm. And when you went in to record your new album, again called Something for the Rest of Us, the Goo Goo Dolls have sold almost 10 million records in the U.S., and you have 17 top 10 singles. And when you go into the studio, was there a lot of pressure, do you think, to come up and hit the same SoundScan numbers? Or was it kind of the situation where you go in nice and loose because, frankly, as a band, you guys seemingly have not much left to prove?
I think that you got to kind of forget about SoundScan these days. I've noticed, just from watching other bands, not just mine, but, the SoundScan numbers aren't necessarily representative of what's going to be sitting in your crowd or the amount of people who are listening to your music, because there's so many other ways to listen to music, Chances are, if I wanted to hear a song right now and I didn't own it, I would just pop on to YouTube and I'd pop the name of the song in and I'd listen to it real quick. Now, I'm a little bit different because chances are if I really liked it, I would probably run out and grab the CD real quick, and load it into my iPod. But, a lot of folks, even if they're not ripping it off of YouTube or getting it off of LimeWire or spending 99 cents instead of $12 on a record on iTunes, which I still appreciate, I think that, the ability to listen to the music you want on your mobile device or on your laptop, which is seemingly always on the internet, these days, the ability to enjoy the music without actually purchasing it is there. So, it's funny, we got a little riff we run sometimes at the shows when we talk about the new record, and, we say, we know y'all are going to go out there and download it anyway, but, it's just sort of a joke, but, the deal is that gives them an extra $10, to come and see your show, and if it really does work that way, then they're spending more money than they would have, to come see us play. And, you can't really get upset about that. If people are there, they're watching you play, they're supporting what you do, then I think that it's a great thing, and I don't think there can be anything wrong with that. It's, once again, just a matter of figuring out what the equation is and figuring out what the math is and, making it work and making sure that, it's a sustainable situation. And, luckily enough for us, and once again, I'm knocking on what I think is wood here, this is, we can go out and play, some pretty significant shows and have people come out and, sing along to, a good couple dozen songs they know and love. So hopefully, we can keep doing that for a little while.
Mm-hmm. And your tour, is it going pretty well? It looks like the Cleveland date is probably going well for you guys as far as ticket sales because most shows this summer, Live Nation is having a fire sale a couple weeks before. They get into a panic and they start selling tickets for, $10, no service fees. But I haven't seen that with your show yet, and it's Saturday. So.
Yeah, well, a lot of the times what they end up doing is they base the show, when this is sort of going behind the curtain a little bit. Maybe people don't need to know this, but a lot of times they base the show on what is in the seating that's in the arena or in the amphitheater. So all the long seats that are out there are generally just gravy. So a lot of the times I noticed last summer they were selling packages where it was 6 tickets for, I don't know, I forget what it was, $200 or something like that, and included all the service charges and everything. But I think once again, Live Nation has had to do, what, the music industry has had to do for different reasons. Our economy is most certainly not as vibrant as it was a few years ago. So, people have to be led down the path a bit, with their handheld, to get to the ticket office window. And, where people may have gone to see 4 or 5 shows, during the summer, they might go to see 1 now, and that's just the reality of the age we're living in right now. And, hopefully, we'll see that change at some point. But until then, I can at least, tip my hat to those folks to understanding, that, people do enjoy going to see shows and making it economically feasible for folks to do so. So I'm all for that. I think it's all right. And to answer your question, I think everything's going all right. I've only heard rumors of a couple of markets that are lagging a little bit behind, but I'm sure they've got me pimped out for the 23 hours that we're not playing to try to generate ticket sales. So we should be all right. We should be okay.
Yeah, and where was I going with this? You know,
I tend to fly off track sometimes. Did you notice that?
No, that's okay. I'm trying to think of something I wanted to ask you while you were talking, and then you started talking about something else. But
yeah, I do that.
Anyway, Dizzy Up the Girl came out in 1998, and that had so many hits on it, and that still gets play. I don't know. How much value terrestrial radio still has, but at least in my market on the top 40 stations, you will still hear those songs quite a bit. And with a lot of tours getting canceled, Lilith Fair, half that thing went kabloosh because of ticket sales and whatnot. It's got to feel pretty good that the Goo Goo Dolls can still find success on tour in a time like this when so many tours just aren't working out.
Yeah, we always try to be wise about how we do it, though. We're not looking for $150 a ticket in general. We do offer some VIP packages and stuff, but we understand that you can very, very easily price yourself out of favor with people, and we've seen that happening an awful lot. The list that you mentioned, there's another 5 or 6 acts that that I've heard have unfortunately had to go about other routes for their summers, and it was sort of just assumed that summers do well, because most of the summer tours people really enjoy coming out to see. But like I said, it's getting a little bit more difficult to pry money from people's hands these days, and I think you just got to have that attitude and understand, that people aren't going to plop out top dollar, forever, so you got to have wise ticket prices, and and more importantly than anything else, you got to put on an awesome show, and if people know that time and time again, that's what they're going to get, then perhaps your chances are a little bit better. That's what I will try to attribute it to now, anyway.
And on your new album, I've heard the first single, and that's it, Home, which impacted radio on June 8th. Is there a track on the album that you're most proud of?
That's always a very difficult question for me to answer, but I heard Gene Simmons say once, "What's my favorite song, or what's the song I like the most?" The one that was his favorite was I forget what his favorite was, but the one he liked the most was Rock and Roll All Night, because it made him the most money. That's what he said. I thought that was an interesting concept, but I generally answer this question just by saying that during the tour there's a song that you can sort of feel the connection happen with, and for years and years and years it's been Slide. We generally play that really, really early in the set. But as far as the new record goes, we've been playing the first song off the record, Sweetest Lie. We've been playing that song as the opening song for about the past, almost every show since we started this last leg of the tour. And the fact that we can walk out and have that thing I just described to you earlier, seeing, a bunch of people who had never seen you play this song before, singing the words to it, right back to you again. It's like when that moment happens, it sort of just reaffirms in your mind that, yeah, okay, this is going to be good, and so I guess at this particular point, that's the one I sort of, on the record, that I sort of gravitate towards. I think just because I've got that memory in my head about it, about looking down and seeing, some kid who was probably born after our first record came out singing some song that's not even out on a record yet. That's exciting. Yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah. Robby, you seem very busy with the Goo Goo Dolls with your extensive tour and promoting your new album, but I know you got your hand in a lot of other things as well. I know you have a record label based in your native Buffalo, as well as Music is Art in your native Buffalo. And let me tell you something, as a Clevelander who's just been screwed over by their hometown boy and watching LeBron James bolt, it's very refreshing to see somebody still rooted in their home community and giving back and doing work there. You know, that's good
man.
for you.
I was so sorry to see that, dude. You know, I mean, like, I really feel akin to, I really feel akin to Cleveland, man. You know, I mean, we've been spending, we spent so much time there, over the years, Babylon and Goo Goo and Peabody's and, Stasha's in Columbus and stuff, we spent so much time traveling around Ohio in that area. It's like, I don't know. I just really relate to it being from Buffalo, and I know what the Bills and Sabres mean to that town. So that was kind of tacky, I think, man. The way that whole thing came down, I think it was kind of a tacky thing myself, but yeah, I really enjoy what I do there. I can't do it anywhere else. It's when you're in a town like like Buffalo, it's a small place, and it's not like LA, it's not like New York, where like you're struggling to make some sort of impact. If you want to see something happen, then you can make it happen there, and so that's what I've been able to do with Music is Art. And hey, if you get a chance, if you want to pop over to our Facebook page, and we're in the running for $20,000 from Chase Manhattan Bank for programming for Music is Art right now, and today's the last day to vote. So if you could do that for me, man, and share it with your friends, that would be really cool.
Let me get it up on the website. What's the Facebook page, Robby?
It's on Facebook. It's if you just go to the Music is Art Facebook page. You know what? What's your email address, dude?
It's hang on one second.
Okay.
I bet I can find it real quick and I can get it.
Okay, it's right. If you go to my page, it's like the first thing on my page. It's Chase Community Giving Charities, it's called.
Well, great. I will definitely get it up on the website today here. Our e-blast goes out at 2 o'clock, so I will.
Oh, that'd be perfect, man. Yep. Yeah, today's the last day. I think it goes until 5 o'clock, and they're giving $20,000 each to the top 200 charities Chase Manhattan Bank is, and I think we're like at 185 right now, man. We're like we're like just hanging on to the bottom of it. So, but yeah, we do a lot of great programming there. So, if there's a chance you can take a look. But anyway, just getting back to what I was saying, we have a pretty dedicated crew of folks who help me with that whole Music is Art thing in Buffalo, and with me being away, it's great that they're there, and they're able to help us out. Great board of directors and volunteers and all that kind of stuff. And as far as the label goes, my wife and I basically run the label. My wife's from Tokyo, and the last 4 bands that we've signed have actually been Japanese bands that we're releasing records here in the States for. So we do a lot of that stuff over the web. It's really not office intensive, So, I have a manager who runs my studio back home. So that's taken care of. So basically, you're only as strong as the people that you have around you. And, I happen to have some pretty amazing people around me, so I'm able to do a lot of cool things.
Good. And, how do you think the people in Buffalo would feel? Going back to the LeBron James thing, if you just picked up your label and you just moved down to Miami, huh? How do you think the people in Buffalo would feel about you then?
You know what? I unfortunately think that they're incredibly used to it. But I would feel like a schmuck. That's the long and short of it. And what they feel, that will eventually go away. What I feel, that will be there forever. And maybe Mr. James, after he crawls out of his huge pile of money, will remember that too. We'll see. Or he might be crushed. Didn't he say he was going to play for South Beach?
He did. Yes.
That dude's in trouble. That's all I got to say. It's the first thing that pops in your head when you say Miami is South Beach. You're in trouble. Yeah, he's going to be hanging out with Rick Ross in no time. I see it coming, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. He's going to get a lot of trouble down there. He's 25 and has more money than he knows what to do with.
Yeah, man. He just better make sure that he takes some of that money and pays someone to keep him out of trouble. spend the majority of what he made extra keeping himself out of trouble down there.
That's
Oh, well.
right.
Anyway, yeah, I'm really sorry to hear about that, though, dude.
It rings out for some drug money or something.
Yeah, there you go. So what are they going to do with the mural, man?
They're taking it down right now as we speak. They started yesterday. It's 10 stories tall. It's right next to the venue where you're playing at on Saturday.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it, actually.
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's enormous, man.
Yeah, I mean,
so did they, like, draw a mustache on it first or something?
Yeah, they should have. I mean, people were burning jerseys.
You know, buck teeth, devil horns, a mustache, the whole, give them the whole ensemble, man.
We could have done that and just left it up for a few days. I mean, bring in some tourists or something. Our economy's hurting.
Yeah, totally. Or you could have charged, residents of Cleveland like $10 to deface it.
Yeah.
And then paid yourself and then you could have bought yourself a new superstar, man. See?
Exactly.
Oh, it's all creative thinking here, man.
Mhm. And getting back on track here just a little bit. We'll let you go here in a second, but for the Goo Goo Dolls, what's coming up for you guys after this tour? You going to tour some more? Or we got a Canadian tour coming up right after we finish the summer. We're going to play a big festival up in Nova Scotia, and then that'll be probably about a dozen shows surrounding that. And I got my Music is Art Festival going on in Buffalo on September 11th. And then after that, we're going to do another spin in the tertiaries and secondaries in America, and then head overseas. Great.
Early in next year, yeah.
All right, Rob, we're going to wrap this up and let you go here, but once again, we've been chatting with Robby Takac of Goo Goo Dolls, who will be appearing in Cleveland on Saturday, July 17th, along with Switchfoot and the Spilled Canvas. The Goo Goo Dolls' new album, Something for the Rest of Us, is going to drop on August 31st at all the usual retailers and e-tailers, and be sure to check that out. You can keep your ears open for Home, the album's first single, which is impacting radio right now and available on iTunes. You can check out the Goo Goo Dolls official site, googooDolls.com, for upcoming tour dates. And if you want to check out some other stuff, too, you can check out Robby's record label at goodcarmelrecords.com. And check out musicisart.org, the organization Robby is involved with. And today is the last day to vote for Robby to get that grant for his organization. So
there you
go. Hang on, I got the Facebook page up here. What do I do with it?
There you go.
Facebook.com/musicisart. It looks like that's it.
That's it. That'll get you there.
And there's on that page, the first link takes you to a page where you can vote to get that grant for the organization. It's a great cause.
Great. And if I could just throw in one more quick thing, we're doing a thing with an organization called USA Harvest, and they collect canned goods at all our shows. We've been working with them about 10 years, and they've released, we've collected about 9 million meals over that time, and they'll be at the Cleveland show as well, collecting out front, our street team, and whoever brings the most food gets to come backstage and get some pictures and gets some thanks from the band, and then we got folks who come and pick it up right at the end of the evening that night, and usually get the stuff circulated into the community by the next morning. So if you could bring some stuff out, that would be awesome. Anything non-perishable, we will accept.
Great. Hey, Robby, thanks so much for taking the time. Looks like you got a lot of good going on and a lot of good going on with the band, and thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
All right, brother. You take it easy, okay?
All right, you too. See you in Cleveland on Saturday.
Bye-bye.